Hey guys, so I'm filming my last check-in for the day, but I also remembered that I forgot to film an intro because I just keep forgetting to lately, I guess. So anyways, guys, the video today obviously is going to be about the Sunday Riley Influencer Foundation. I talk about all the product and, details throughout the video, so if you guys are curious about anything about the product, it'll all be in the main video. So in terms of primer, what I'm thinking I'm going to do today, just because I feel a little dry and my skin's been a little sensitive lately, I'm going to do the Nivea Men's Sensitive Post Shave Balm, and I'm actually going to mix in a little bit of my ordinary hyaluronic acid 2% plus B5. I really like the hyaluronic acid actually as a primer because it actually does get very sticky, and I don't know why we like that as beauty YouTubers, but we like sticky primers. I suppose it's supposed to prolong the wear of said foundation. I don't really know. This feels very nice. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm pulling up the webpage from Sephora on the app that they have, and I'm just going to read some of the details from here, and then I'm also going to read whatever is on the box. So obviously this foundation is called the Influencer Clean Longwear Foundation. On Sephora's app it says it's good for normal, oily, or combination skin types, so not dry, I'm assuming. What it is, a clean, long-lasting foundation with medium to full coverage formulated with your skin's health in mind. If you want to know more, the Influencer Clean Longwear Foundation redefines the line between skincare and makeup. It provides clean, natural-looking, long-lasting coverage that doesn't dry out as the day or night goes on, with a satin matte finish that stays fresh throughout the day, even throughout workouts or humidity. It's available in 20 shades. Conceals redness, pores, dark spots without looking cakey. Just one pump. Get perfectly even skin with ultra natural coverage. For fuller coverage or more concealing power that never cracks or creases, layers needed without worrying about clogging your pores. No matter what your desired coverage, you are always in control. You still look like you. Doesn't say anything about how to apply it. I'm going to see if it says anything about application on the box. Okay, so directions. Apply 1 to 2 pumps after your Sunday Riley skincare regimen with your favorite foundation brush or tool. Start in center of face and blend outwards. Layers needed for additional coverage. So, I did my skincare for the day, but it's not all Sunday Riley. I have one other Sunday Riley product, which is the UFO oil, the Ultra Clarifying Face Oil, I think, or something like that. One of my favorite skincare products of all time, and I talked about that in my How I Cleared My Cystic Acne video, which is probably one of my very first videos on my channel. That product saved my skin so much. Today, my skin is not perfect. I do have some breakouts, so we're definitely going to put it to the test today for that medium to full coverage claim. Let's go ahead and zoom you guys in for our application. So I definitely have some breakouts under my eyebrows. I have some in my forehead right now. We're just going to have to deal with that. I'm going to go ahead and use the top of this Peter Thomas Roth mask for dispensing, and then I'm going to go ahead and obviously pull the foundation out as well. So this is what it looks like. It's a very sleek matte package, and I believe, yeah, it does have a pump, which is nice. You can see through to the shade, which I really enjoy. This shade is 100, which is the lightest possible shade. Very fair with golden undertones is how it's described. I don't consider myself very fair, at least not anymore. I felt like I've gotten some color recently, but we'll just have to wait and see. My favorite foundation match as of right now is the Huda Beauty Faux Filt'r foundation in 200B Shortbread. You can kind of see the difference in coloring, but just have to kind of see how it applies. If it ends up being lighter coverage, the closeness of the shade doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and dispense 2 pumps and hope that I don't need to use it all. So I 100% prefer applying my foundation with a sponge. This is the Morphe one. I'm not sure which one it's called, but it's shaped like this. Again, this is about what 2 pumps looks like. It's pretty thick, actually. It doesn't seem to be very runny, so if you don't like thicker texture foundations, maybe this one's not for you, but let's go ahead and see how it applies. Usually what I do is I just pick up a little bit with my sponge and I just start to dab it on. I will say I had kind of shade tested this when I got it, and it applied very light coverage with my fingers, so we're just gonna have to see how it applies today in terms of either a sponge or a brush. I'm going to go ahead and start with the sponge on this side of my face, my right side, and see how it kind of goes on, and then I might do the other side with a brush if I want to test the coverage on that. usually do not apply my foundation with a brush at all. So in terms of the natural looking claim, so far that one little dab into the product definitely doesn't do much in my opinion. Let me go ahead and come a little closer so you guys can see. So this is the unfoundation side and this is the foundation side. I feel like there's very minimal coverage in this. I did apply it with a sponge and it is dampened and they do soak up a little bit of the product, but at the same time I don't know if that's necessarily the product. It has a medium to full coverage claim and I would definitely expect to see that after the first application, but I'm going to go ahead and with a brush now. This is the Morphe M439. I'm just going to again take one little dab of it and start to apply it on the left side of my face. So when I use a brush, I usually use like a mixture of a dabbing and kind of sweeping motion. Mostly dabbing. So with brush application, I really don't like this. With brush, you can definitely see a lot of the texture and it definitely goes on a lot more cakey. So I'm going to try and smooth it out with the sponge real quick. So again, this side is with the brush and this side is with the sponge. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a very light coverage foundation. I don't feel like this is medium to full whatsoever. I probably have the equivalent of probably half a pump left. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up with the sponge and I'm going to go ahead and try and build up the coverage where I feel I need it, which is mostly kind of around my nose and right now where my breakouts are. So in terms of buildability, I like it a lot because I felt like I'm able to build it without it looking cakey whatsoever, which I really like. I will say that this looks incredibly natural on the skin. It really does look untraceable in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and dispense one more pump. And the pumps are bigger, probably because they know that you need a little bit more product to get the coverage that they claim, to be very honest. And then I'm going to go ahead and, again, try and build this up. I'm also going to take it down my neck because since I'm building it up, I definitely want to match. I would say that this is a very work-friendly foundation, just, you know, work or school, whatever. Again, I don't think that you need to abide by any sort of rule when you're going out to work or school, but if your goal is to look natural, not very made up, this is very good for that, I would say. I'm definitely going to try and build it up a lot more on my forehead right now because I feel like that is sort of my trouble place when it comes to foundation looking cakey or settling in. And then one thing I wanted to mention, what kind of surprises me considering Sunday Riley is a skincare brand, I'm kind of surprised this foundation doesn't contain any SPF in it. One of my favorite SPF foundations is the IT Cosmetics CC Illumination. That was one of my favorite foundations right now. Definitely lighter to medium coverage. And that one would probably be my best comparison to something like this, except the fact that this one is satin matte and that one is more of an illuminating formula. But even with that one and having oily skin, I don't feel like I look excessively oily. So this is about as far as I feel comfortable building it up. I would say that you can still definitely see my breakouts. There's redness showing through here, here where I had a spot, up here. Definitely is not perfect by any means. But it is definitely okay. For $42, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and have to see how it wears throughout the day just because I can't make a definitive statement on how I feel about this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup and come back and kind of check in with you guys. As of right now, it is 11:52. I don't know if you can see that. It's 11:52, so almost 12. I'm just going to say 12 as the check-in kind of start time. And then I will be right back with you, like I said, with all my makeup done, and we'll kind of evaluate from there. Alright guys, so the rest of my makeup is done. I like it. If you're curious, for concealer I use the Ulta Full Coverage Concealer with a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape mixed in just to lighten it. I set it with the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, and for my eyebrows I'm actually wearing the NYX Micro Brow in Auburn mixed with taupe. Eyeshadow is the KKW X Mario palette. Mascara is L'Oreal Lash Paradise Waterproof. Lip gloss is KKW X Mario Juicy. highlight is Tarte Exposed. If you guys have any other questions about whatever's on my face, feel free to ask. I set my T-zone a little bit with the Cover FX powder as well. Let me go ahead and get a little closer so you guys can see how the foundation looks. So here's the deal. I honestly think that I would be better off just not wearing foundation. My lighting may have changed dramatically. It just got really sunny outside, which I think actually makes it look better. I'm going to zoom out real quick just to talk about it a little bit more. So the way I feel about this foundation is that it's sort of nothing special. It's $42, which I feel like is definitely on the more expensive side for foundations, especially just nowadays. There's so many good foundations out that you don't need to spend that much money to have something that looks good on your skin. This looks fine. It settles into my lines on my forehead. Keep in mind I'm 18, so I don't really have any, but it creates them. I have a very expressive face, so when I make, you know, emotions on my face, it just tends to settle in. The shade match is okay. Again, it's not very full coverage, so when you're not using an extremely full coverage foundation, the demarcation isn't as obvious just because it doesn't add a bunch of color. I don't feel like the medium to full coverage claim is very accurate. I can still see my breakouts. I can still see, you know, beauty marks, scarring. I can see all kinds of stuff still, no matter what sort of application type I used. Let me move up here a little bit. There we go. I would definitely, if you want to get this, I wouldn't recommend applying it with a brush. I would recommend applying it with a sponge. And depending on your skin type, I would set it. It feels sticky where I haven't set it, and you know, where I have it doesn't feel bad. I just don't think that this foundation is anything special unless you are a big fan of the Sunday Riley brand. The one foundation that this does remind me of that is significantly cheaper and has a better shade range is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r foundation, which is one of my all-time favorite foundations. That one is very, very buildable. I usually will apply it with a sponge and build it up if I need high coverage. The Huda Beauty one, again, is one of my also favorites and has a very similar finish, and I think is a little bit cheaper as well. Let me just double check that real quick. So the Huda Beauty one is $40 and has a insane shade range. I want to say 30. I can't really count it from here. Yeah, so Fenty Beauty's $34 and has a way more expansive, I think double the shade range of the Sunday Riley one. This doesn't look bad by any means, but I don't think a lot of the claims are accurate. I do feel like it has the potential to get cakey, especially after you do the rest of your makeup. You know, I don't think powdering was my problem here. I think that the foundation just settles. And in terms of application, I felt like I had to apply a lot. I had to use 3 pumps, and usually for something like Huda Beauty, I only use 1 pump for my whole face, so that's another thing. It does come with a little bit more product than typical foundations. It has 1.08 fluid ounces, so 0.08 more than the typical, but still is probably just more expensive than I'm willing to spend. I might even end up returning it because I just feel like that's a stupid amount of money to spend on a foundation, and I don't really see myself wearing it after today just on initial application. This is kind of where my opinion stands as of right now. If it wears beautifully and like I just fall in love with how it wears, I will of course let you guys know. Hey guys, so it is 10:19 right now, so it's been on for a little over 10 hours. I hate this foundation. I'm returning it. I don't like it and it's not worth the money, and I kind of foreshadowed that thought in my kind of review after initially applying it. For $42, this is definitely not worth it. I feel like it was catered for oily skin, catered for coverage, and it is not for either. If you have maybe dry skin, want a matte kind of finish that gets glowy throughout the day, and you want light coverage, this foundation may be for you, but they did not market it correctly, at least in the way that it reacted to my skin. I think you guys can definitely see that the coverage has definitely dissipated throughout the day. I probably would have been better off not wearing any foundation at all. It just looks cracky. It's definitely just caked up around all the crevices, and definitely is not a good foundation. So that's my thoughts. Again, my thing is if you want a foundation that looks similar to this, which is like a light to medium coverage, that's easy to apply and gives a very natural finish, I would go with this one from It Cosmetics, which is the CC Illumination. Has SPF 50 in it, which is really good, which the Sunday Riley doesn't. I believe this one is $35. And, you know, I'm in the shade Fair. It's in one of those things that you don't need the shade to match you incredibly well because it's mostly just light to medium coverage. It's not going to show a big line of demarcation or anything like that either. Anyways, guys, I gotta leave to work in about 12 minutes. So I gotta finish getting ready, gotta put on my clothes. And if you guys have any questions about the foundation, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Or if you guys have tried it yourself and have a different opinion, I'd also like to hear that. But overall, it's not like it's bad, but it's definitely just not worth the money. Sunday Riley's skincare is definitely worth looking into, but their makeup as of right now isn't anything worth writing home about. So anyways, guys, I'm sorry that this was kind of like a negative video, but you know, I just kind of want to save you guys money. I don't think it's necessary to always spend the top dollar on something. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like me or you like today's video, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.